Well, 1 week ago today, we got the news that the CFP was expanding threefold from 4 teams to a dozen. Now, the FBS commissioners have to decide just when and how that is going to happen. The group meeting in Dallas on Thursday to start those discussions, and our Dennis Dodd reporting that with so much potential money on the table, there is significant momentum to get things rolling in 2024. Dennis reporting that he's been told the revenue from an expanded playoff could be over $1.5 billion and usher in an even bigger payday when the media rights come up for renewal. All right, so let's welcome in Dennis, who has a great article on this over on CBSSports.com. It's filled with all kinds of details and particulars. But Dennis, what do you see as the biggest hurdle the commissioners are facing in terms of getting this going as soon as possible?
Oh, boy. Well, right now it's the calendar, and that's just the first piece of it, Jeremy. They met yesterday in Dallas to begin discussions. This is going to be a process, by the way. It's going to go on a while. But the calendar, when to play the games, and to do that, you have to decide when to play the season. There was significant discussion about moving the season up a week. That would involve making week 0 in late August, week 1, where everybody would play, and then ending the season on that last Saturday in November to get the games in. Now, the issue with that is, as you know, Ohio State, Michigan is the last Saturday in November, USC, UCLA, the Egg Bowl, several big-time rivalries. It would then have to be played the third Saturday in November. And then that would give players, 8 to 10 days off before they play the first round games. The top 4 are going to get byes. And I think the goal, if they can do it, is to keep the championship game in the second week of January, which it is now with 4 teams. But obviously you're going to be playing a lot of football in December. I did learn that the CFP commissioners do have a copy of the NFL's playoff schedule in 24 and 25. If they do go early, that's significant because the public sure doesn't have it, and the NFL is nowhere near to releasing it. But they have given the CFP those dates so they can maneuver around, and it is significant hurdles. In December, the NFL is playing Thursday, Saturday, Sunday. When are you going to get the games in? Not only that, hotel rooms, moving bowls around, establishing places to play the semifinals. It's a huge lift right now, Jeremy.
Yeah, there are so many little details that have to be worked out. But, I mean, when we look at it, we're thinking, okay, 2024, that's, 5, 6, maybe 700 days away, plenty of time. But then when you break it down based on what you put in the article, the time is running out. I mean, Dennis, how confident are you that they could get this done and implemented for 2024?
Yeah, less than 27 months away right now. But everybody I've talked to is confident in theory they can do it. I mean, to be discussed, by the way, if they're going to do it, is I guess we're all supposed to assume it's going to be the top 6 conference champions and 6 at large. That's how it was proposed last June. Greg Sankey has said on the record he is in favor of 12 at large. And we know who carries the biggest stick in college football right now. It's the Big Ten and the SEC. Can he scuttle this thing by saying, nope, I'm not going to go along with it, at least early, if it isn't 12 at large? And obviously that benefits the Big Ten and SEC. Is there going to have to be some line there where the Big Ten and the SEC don't get 3 or 4 teams each in every year? Because the way things are now, they will. Is there going to be a line drawn there where you have to have at least 10 wins? You have to be ranked, at least this high in the top 15 or something like that. These are things they haven't even delved into, and they will beginning September 27th at a meeting in Chicago.
The current broadcast deal, Dennis, expires in 2026. I know they're already hearing the sound of cash registers going off as they begin to think about how, a new TV deal could kind of reshape things. Is there pressure to get it going before that expires in order to capitalize on the media rights that they could be getting in terms of the money?
Well, obviously, the money is there, and that's why you would go as soon as you can. Because, why? Because you can. You want to get access to that money. One report said that with ESPN controlling the last 2 years of the deal exclusively in 24 and 25, they would have to ante up $450 million extra each in each of those 2 years. I think the commissioners are in unison beginning in 26. The contract goes out to bid to multiple bidders, and that's why you see that number that you quoted, 1.5 to 1.6 billion worth. It's only worth 600 million now in total. So that's almost 3 times the number if you go up in 2026. But yes, the same reasons for going early is what the president said last week. It's number one for access. You want to include everybody in the postseason. Right now, they aren't. It's a regional sport dominated by the SEC. And number two, while they won't say it, it's obviously the money.
Yeah, and we talk about all the money that the arbiters of college football stand to make. Dennis, what's in it for the players?
Well, that's a big question, Jeremy, and that's going to have to be resolved because with this much money in the system, and still the players don't get anything except room, board, books, tuition, and cost of attendance. NIL is allowed, but that's not part of the scholarship deal. I wrote this week that I think the playoff could guarantee maybe an appearance fee, call it something like that. Even if it was something as low as $32,000 per player. I just kind of pulled that out of midair. That's 1,200 players, 100 players for 12 teams. That only takes up about 2.5% of the $1.5 billion budget. I think they could afford that to pay them basically an appearance fee, and a reward for making the postseason. There's nothing wrong with that. But beyond that, whoever takes over college football, and it's largely believed the NCAA is going to surrender control of FBS, is going to have to be liable for not only that, but litigation. We know about all the head injuries and all the lawsuits that go on, revenue sharing, perhaps collective bargaining. This will speed that timeline up, I think, where you have the playoff in place with the money and you ask the simple question, what's in it for the players?
Dennis Dodd, our college football writer, on top of everything in terms of the revamping of the college football playoff. Dennis, great stuff. A great article over on CBSSports.com. Dennis gets into some of the details that we just discussed. Be sure to go and check it out. Great to see you as always, Dennis. And for more on the latest expansion, major storylines involving the game, be sure to check out the Cover 3 podcast. Chip Patterson, Tom Fornelli, Danny Cannell, Bud Elliott, always having great discussions. You can catch the show live on HQ today at 4 p.m. Eastern or download and follow the podcast anytime wherever you get your podcast audio.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.